I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York, I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast. So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? This week on the Dallas Famous Podcast, we're excited to welcome Amy Rosenthal. Amy is the Cultural Arts Director for the City of Garland, and she's here to share the incredible story of Garland's Renaissance, its history, its vibrant art scene, and the exciting projects shaping its future. From Garland's roots in the railroad to the legendary Willie Nelson recording in Garland, Amy's journey through arts and community development is truly inspiring. Amy was a delight, and I know you're going to like this one. Here it is. The Dallas Famous Podcast is supported by the Mullen & Mullen Music Project. The Music Project was created by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm to champion the independent music scene in North Texas. Welcome back to the Dallas Famous Podcast. Again, at the Deep Ellum Community Center, we have a very special guest today, Amy Rosenthal. She's the Cultural Arts Director for the City of Garland. And that's like, Garland is now somewhere to go to do things. Like, you're helping make that happen, right?
Yeah, well, I have the incredible pleasure, and I'm so lucky to be in Garland right now. It's... you know, our friend Maureen Womack
Yes.
from Rabbit Hat, she says Garland's having a renaissance.
Yeah,
And so I'm very excited to be a part of the Garland Renaissance right now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get to Garland, but we're going to start with you. So, okay, you're Austin, Dallas, where are you from?
Oh, my goodness. So a variety of places. I went to school in Austin,
Okay.
but we moved around a lot while I was growing up. My dad worked for J.C. Penney's, and we moved to Texas when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Where were you before that?
So we were in New Mexico and Colorado.
Okay.
And so Texas was a big culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially to a teenager that was kind of like, you know, I mean, when you're in New Mexico and you're going to high school, you know, it's just all kind of jeans and T-shirts, and then got to Texas and there was hair and, you know, all of the stuff.
I
So
didn't think about that.
yeah, pretty big change. But then went to school in Austin and have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater.
Okay.
And my parents were like, "What are you gonna do?" And it's been okay. It's worked out.
It's worked
so,
out.
yeah.
Did you want to be an actor or some aspect of theater?
Yeah, you know, back in the day, I mean, I've always loved live performance. Music. My folks would take us to do all kinds of things, and you know, really did love stage work and theater and actually clowning. I really love some clowning and physical theater as well.
Interesting.
And yeah, and so when I graduated, I had an opportunity to work at Dallas Children's Theater.
Okay.
And I got to work on stage, and I don't know if you've ever done any children's theater before in your background.
Theater, but not children's theater.
Okay.
I was in high school, so.
Well, they're a tough crowd, so they can tell you right away if something is off because you hear in their chairs, you know, I mean,
Right.
if the show, if you're not on, if you're not connecting with the audience, you know, the kids are letting you know.
Yeah.
But had a chance to do some on-stage work with them, but then really had an opportunity to learn about the business, about some administrative stuff.
Okay. But before we get
Yeah.
to that, so you work, originally you were acting. You were acting in like in high school and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Way back. My first part, I played Captain Hook in Peter Pan.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. So all the other girls, they wanted to be Tinkerbell
Right.
or Wendy.
Sure.
And I was like, you know, Captain Hook.
Why, though?
Yeah, I don't know. The costume, I guess, you know,
Right.
kind of accents, you know, kind of,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah, just be something
Totally
completely
different.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm asking all this because I mean it's sort of tongue in cheek, but I'm like, so like when you were 5 and you were dreaming about being the cultural arts director of Garland, like, so I'm just trying to like connect the threads of like how
does that happen?
How does that happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you're at the Children's Theater. So you So you started there acting, but then you kind of transitioned over?
Well, so the amazing thing about Dallas Children's Theater is that their team, usually their performers are involved in some type of teaching capacity or
Okay.
backstage capacity. And so, when I left Austin, I had a job to work at Children's Theater with some of their classes. And, not only do they have amazing classes to help cultivate young artists, but they also do this incredible outreach program. So we were in schools using theater to help supplement academic stuff.
Gotcha. I don't know. I mean, I've driven past it a bunch, but I just assumed it was children doing the shows.
Yeah.
That's not it. What
No,
it is.
so
Okay.
so DCT, long amazing history. The founder is Robin Flatt, and she is the daughter of Paul Baker, and Paul Baker founded the Dallas Theater Center.
Right. Okay.
And so I think the Children's Theater was founded in maybe 82. I can't remember exactly when, but she wanted to take professional theater. She wanted, not just this experience of, it's kids' theater, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, she really wanted to create this kind of magical experience for family audiences. And so when I joined in 95, they were right across the street from the Crescent Hotel in Uptown.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was actually the building that housed the Crescent, the model for the Crescent Hotel. So it was Cedar Springs and Maple. And at that time, Robin knew, like, if the Children's Theater could have their own building, that would really help, allow their programs to grow and really give them the stability that they needed. So she worked really hard to acquire that Don Carter's bowling alley. It's Don Carter's bowling alley is what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in 2000 I think it was like 2002, 2003. No, maybe it was I don't know. Anyway, early 2000s, we moved from Uptown to Northwest Highway.
Okay.
And then that's where, really, really took off.
And they're still doing shows there, but you were
Yeah.
there for
About 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so from there, is that when you headed to McKinney?
That's when I headed to McKinney. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got married, and my husband got a job in the DA's office in Collin County in McKinney. And so this is like, 2004, 2005-ish, we start to move to McKinney. And at that point, McKinney had not experienced any of what's happening today. I mean, it's pretty remarkable, and we'll talk about that story. But anyway, it was it was a little easier to buy a house in McKinney at that point.
Sure.
And he had to be there at a certain time, and my schedule was a little more flexible, so we commuted. But then this thing started happening in downtown McKinney. So the old courthouse, which is in the center of the square, closed in the mid-1970s, sat vacant for 20 years.
Really? Oh, okay.
And the city had purchased the building and had the intent of opening a performing arts center. And I was like, I want to be in downtown McKinney. And so got to join the McKinney team in 2006 and really saw that downtown just completely transform because of arts and culture and entertainment
Yeah.
and food.
Yeah.
I mean, that is why Historic Downtown McKinney became a destination, because the courthouse was open at night and on weekends. And there was an energy there. Performance was bringing an energy and bringing people, and people wanted to go eat, and that's what changed downtown McKinney.
Is it still? So it's not the courthouse anymore. That's not where that.
No, it's a performing arts center.
That is so wild.
yeah.
Okay, my first Observer cover was shooting buskers performing in front of that building, which the city allows. They were
That's
never
right.
pushed off. So
Yeah. No, we worked really hard. Butch McGregor, who's behind the Tin District in Trinity Groves, he said this amazing thing to me one time. He's like, people come for two reasons. They go for art and they go for food. And so if you can harness that in a way that people connect with, that it shows a location's authenticity. I mean, it really, so anyway, we leaned into that in McKinney, and that's what's happening in Garland.
Well, can you give us some maybe examples of programs you worked on in McKinney that helped get it there?
Well, for sure. And so I love to tell the McKinney story as well, too. Okay, so McKinney is the county seat of Collin County, where it has this beautiful courthouse built in 1875, right in the center of town. And then in the 1920s, they remodeled it. But McKinney had really fallen asleep because 75, the downtown, the heart of McKinney, when 75 extended north from Dallas, toward McKinney, toward Sherman, people didn't go to the downtown anymore. The J.C. Penney's that was on the downtown square, a very well functioning J.C. Penney's. There are stories of Mr. James Cash Penney himself visiting that store in downtown McKinney. They said, hey, we don't want to be in this old downtown anymore. We want to move to the highway. And that's really the story of so many little small towns. When the highway comes through, those little mom and pops on the downtown square or the businesses that are on the square, they want to go towards the highway because they want people to come and access, quickly.
Makes sense.
So McKinney, just really fell into kind of a sleep. I mean, McKinney has beautiful architecture, a really, again, just an incredible, downtown area, but really started very sleepy. They filmed Benji in McKinney. If you know,
wow.
Yeah.
So, I remember vaguely as a kid loving that movie.
Yeah, good old Benji. But if you go back and look at the footage from the 1970s, I mean, McKinney is like, the shops are closed. I mean, the windows are boarded up.
Wow.
I mean, it really,
Interesting.
So once, McKinney was ripe for redevelopment. So then in the late 1990s and in the early 2000s, you had some investors, start to buy some of those properties in downtown McKinney. And you had a few restaurants come in. And again, you had some artists. That's the other thing, too. These artists, they add a vibe and an energy to a community that just makes it a destination. And so, again, the catalyst, I truly believe the catalyst is that performing arts center where, at nighttime there's music, there's some type of entertainment happening and bringing people. So in McKinney, got to see the growth of all of these really cool festivals that McKinney's known for right now. There's a fantastic Oktoberfest and Arts in Bloom. There's a Christmas festival. So got to see that. We got to do some cool art in downtown McKinney. And then one of the things that really, one of my last projects that I loved in McKinney was the silo mural. So McKinney was working on expanding toward the east, and there was an old granary, a flour mill, and we had an opportunity to bring Guido van Helten to McKinney, and he's an Australian, he's an international artist, and he's this gigantic silo mural, which is just extraordinary. So,
right, cool. It's so. I moved here 11 years ago. To me, McKinney has always been what it is now. It's interesting to hear that it wasn't like that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so McKinney is also so well positioned. As just kind of North Texas continues to grow, and it was in the path of development, but. Yeah, there was really some intentionality about revitalizing that downtown. And so when I started to see and kind of hear about what was happening in Garland, I was like, oh my goodness, how cool would it get to be a part of another, downtown that's kind of reimagining itself, that's, really creating some energy.
So then what, you reached out to Garland or they came to you?
Well, so it just kind of, the synchronicity of it all was pretty amazing. I had gone through COVID with McKinney and all of the small businesses, and that was really intense, and felt like I was able to help them. We had just completed the silo project, and so I was like, okay, I feel like I've done what I needed to do in McKinney, and the position was open. I saw and I was like, okay, well, I'll just kind of throw my hat in. But again, very fortunate to continue on into Garland. So.
Right. And I can only assume that your resume from McKinney helped a lot.
Well, we have an amazing team in McKinney, of course, and a lot of hard lessons. there was one year when the Christmas tree blew down, and I thought I was going to lose my job, and it was like it was gosh, I think it was 2019. You know, we have a live Christmas tree in McKinney. You know, every community puts up a Christmas tree, but we were really proud to bring in a live, or I guess it's not live because it's, you know, dead, but a living, a real tree.
Right.
And because it was being placed on the property of the courthouse, which is an architectural site, they weren't going to let us. There was a lot of restriction about how far we could dig down or whatever.
Sure.
And so it was the night of the Christmas Rotary Parade, and we were getting things ready. There was a crazy windstorm in McKinney. McKinney's Texas is windier than Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, even though Chicago's the windy city, Texas is really windier.
Right.
The tree blew over, and everything was every place, and then like 20 minutes later, there's a helicopter flying around, and it's Fox 4, and they're like, McKinney's Christmas tree is blown over, and somebody's going to lose their job. And I'm like, So, yeah, so a lot of hard lessons. But, the incredible thing, too, about McKinney was some of the leadership. Mayor George Fuller, who's a badass guitar guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, okay, I think I have an idea. The next day, they put me in a Grinch costume, and I was arrested as the Grinch. So anyway, yeah.
It's like I'm trying not to see the parallels with Parks and Rec, but...
It is. Yes, local government is 100% Parks and Rec.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
it's great. But so some hard lessons from McKinney, but some really great successes, and kind of learning some formulas, and hopefully some things that, I can help cultivate a little in Garland.
Right. And so when did you start in Garland?
I've almost been there 4 years.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I met you on the Willie Nelson anniversary project. How did that come about?
Yeah. Okay, so Garland just has this incredible history. So I think I'm gonna kind of back up. I'm gonna give you the whole story of Garland, okay? Because it all kind of, makes you think about what Garland is today when you know the whole story. Uh-huh. So Garland dates back to the 1890s, 1891. There were two little communities. There was Duck Creek and there was Embry. And these two communities were, the post office came to town and said, okay, you could only be called one. You're too close together. You can't be Duck Creek or Embry. You got to come up with a name together. So they had this great compromise where the old geezers of Duck Creek and the old geezers of Embry got together, and they said, okay, well, we'll name this town something, but you can't know anybody, can't be one of your relatives, it can't be, had all of these restrictions. And so they decided on Garland because he was the Attorney General of the time. So this was this great compromise. So Garland is founded in 1891, and Garland sits in a really special spot where railroads intersect. And so, there was a lot of commerce coming through Garland with the railroads, but Garland doesn't explode. Garland doesn't have its McKinney moment until the 1950s. And so at that point, Garland is home to several industrial manufacturers. Garland is the place for these GIs, out of the Army to get a 211, which is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1-car garage. You have great schools. And so Garland starts to develop as this, what we call an inner ring suburb, really booming in the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. Well, in 1974, 75, Willie Nelson rides into town to a little recording studio called Autumn Sounds. Today it's Audio Dallas. And he records the most influential album in outlaw country music.
Yeah.
He records Redheaded Stranger in Garland, Texas.
Yeah.
So
it just seems random. It's not like he. Is there somebody that was working at that studio that he knew?
Yeah. So that studio, and it's actually, oh my gosh, I should know this. We may have to look it up. But because he's Joshua Ray Walker's uncle by marriage, There was a producer at the time that really was connected into, some of these folks. And the studio at Garland was cheap.
Okay.
And so, Willie could go in and for, very, very affordable amount of money, just make this record. And so went in, made the record, and really changed music history. I mean, Redheaded Stranger is, the definitive album of his career. So 50 years later, right, we have to have a party
right.
and celebrate.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit about Garland. Again, this kind of industrial manufacturing aspect to Garland, which is really cool. I mean, it's hats. If you have a Stetson or Resistol cowboy hat, it's made in Garland, Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah, I guess I've been to the factory. Yeah. In fact, it's kind of funny, like, to see, like, a who's who. Like, they'll have all kinds of different random famous people come in and take photos and get a hat. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, people, like Beyonce's hats are made in Garland.
Yeah.
Lainey
wow.
Wilson's hats are made in Garland, I mean, the hats from all of the presidents, from, LBJ to Ronald Reagan to George W. Bush, I mean, those hats all have this Garland connection, which people don't necessarily know about.
Huh, wild. It's funny, too, about, I didn't grow up here, and I don't know if I could pull it off.
Oh, a hat?
Like a cowboy hat. Is there anything else, like, cool about Garland that we should know, that we don't know?
Yeah, there's always something to do in Garland, okay?
Yeah.
Of course. So, so we've got this cultural district in the downtown area. It's our Bankhead Cultural Arts District. And it's named after the Bankhead Highway. Okay, I'm kind of a history nerd,
Please.
Okay?
And we need to know.
Yes, you need to know the scoop behind Bankhead. So in the 1920s, right, we're transitioning from carriages to automobiles, right, 1920s. And there's a Senator Bankhead from Alabama, who helps advocate for this federal funding for cities to help with a transcontinental highway. So predating Route 66, Bankhead, there's the Bankhead Highway, and you go from Washington, D.C. to San Diego.
Huh. I've never heard about this.
So a lot of folks haven't. I mean, it's a little more of that kind of, people know about Route 66, but not as many people know about the Bankhead Highway. And so communities were given incentives to pave part of their, town if they, if they join in this Bankhead Highway. And so Garland worked very hard to become part of the Bankhead Highway. And the Bankhead Highway now travels through downtown Garland, but it's also Garland Road that goes into Dallas.
Okay.
And it leaves some clues of its heritage. There's some really fabulous neon signs on Garland Road. And so, I mean, that's, if you think, too, again, about, Route 66 and some of the fabulous neon along Route 66, there's some beautiful neon signs in Garland that you should really check out.
Right. It's funny. Maybe if they had written a song about it, it would have been more known.
Yeah.
And then you guys landed a music-friendly Texas community certificate. That was at the
designation. That was with Redheaded Stranger.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I have photos of you getting that award.
Yeah, that was such a great night.
What does that mean for the city, having that?
So that means that Garland is recognized at a state level for its contributions to music. And of course, we have, all of the great legacy, with Audio Dallas and Garland. But then we continue, there's lots of live music happening in Garland all the time. Mm-hmm. So we've got Jimmy Wallace's guitar shop is in downtown Garland.
Oh, okay.
And he has helped sponsor this monthly series, free concert series in the downtown square. So on the first Friday of every month, you can catch a show. Then we also have a Thursday night series too, where you can see singer-songwriters perform. And then what we do is we have 3 facilities in our portfolio. We have the Plaza Theater, which is the historic downtown theater on the square, which has another beautiful neon. And then we have the Granville Arts Center, and we have the atrium. And then those are mostly rental facilities, but we will supplement with some programming. So, for example, The Redheaded Stranger is a program that we produced. And then we've, filled in with a few others like Mavis Staples and Blind Boys of Alabama. We've had La Mafia. We've had Alita Reina, Little Joe. I mean, a variety of performers.
Okay.
So,
Are you involved in any of the booking or planning?
yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, well, I mean, we, listen in a lot to kind of community feedback, and we have a cultural arts commission that's always providing about, some ideas or thoughts, but we try not to produce or present anything that might be in conflict with some of our local groups. So we have a Garland Symphony Orchestra that's been around for about 50 years. We have a Garland Civic Theater that's been around for almost 60 years. And then we also have Garland Summer Musicals. We have a Dallas Ballet. We're home to Dallas Ballet. So we have all of these great legacy groups that are producing, but then we supplement with a few other things throughout the year.
Okay, so they're like ongoing performances, and then you put in stuff that complements that.
Absolutely,
right, okay.
that doesn't necessarily compete with what they're doing.
So, I mean, we live in, North Texas and all the way down to Austin even, which is, hill country more. But there's a lot of culture. There's a lot of great talent. What does it take for Garland to compete with those cities for both audiences and also just funding?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I mean, when you think about North Texas and just how competitive it is, I mean, you can go 15 minutes anywhere and see anything or do anything.
That's true.
I think that's where, you got to think about the authenticity of of the placemaking. So I'm a huge personal cultural tourist. Like when I go to a place, I want to eat the local food. I want to see the local shops. I really want to feel like I'm getting to experience that community. And so, when you do have this market that's really saturated, but it all plays together though too. I mean, I think about this a lot. Even though we may have competitor is this or that or whomever, really that's adding to the whole culture of North Texas. Man, and your show doing this kind of thing, I mean, talking about what's going on just is incredible. But again, if we can say, hey, when you come to Garland, Texas, you are going to get to see some really amazing art. Right now, today, actually, we have an incredible mosaic going in that I want to tell you about. But you can see some art. You can eat, at Fortunate Son, which has like the best New Haven pizza. That's Matt and Josh behind Good Friends. You can have Intrinsic Barbecue. You can have some of these great, food experiences. That I think, gives people a little like, hey, why do we matter?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, just in general, when I go somewhere and I see that they're trying to support art, like whether it's murals or like this mosaic or whatever, you're like, okay, they get it here. Like I'm a little bit cooler with like spending money here and spending time here,
For sure, but because I think you probably know, maybe even from a business standpoint, like, hey, I want to spend my money in a place where that stuff is important. I think maybe to a person who might not necessarily be tuned into that, they can just tell that something is different about that area, something that's special there. I mean, I think that's, again, the attraction that brings people.
And then I think I just saw a post that you're doing a renovation for, what is it, the Granville Arts Center?
For the Granville Arts Center.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is super exciting. This is just, I mean, it kind of blows my mind when I think about it. So, we talked about Garland as booming in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, right? Garland is like the suburb where people are moving because it's got all of the stuff. So in 82, Garland builds this performing arts center, which is really kind of revolutionary back in the day. I mean, you didn't see suburbs building these types of, performance centers for their community. And so built in 1982, named after the amazing Patty Granville, who was there for 40 years. Huh. I'm like the second longest director, so she was there for 40 years. After 40 years, we all need a little kind of, a little something. So we passed a $25 million bond last year. Ooh. And we are updating the Granville Arts Center. I don't know if you remember or not, but we have no ADA seating.
What is that?
American Disability Act.
Oh,
There's no.
Okay.
So if you cannot get into a seat, you're sitting in the back row.
Right.
And Granville Arts Center, the Brownlee Auditorium is also that continental style seating. There's no aisles, so we have an opportunity to fix that. We also have an opportunity to fix some of our systems that are kind of at life's end. What happens with cities is they don't necessarily, sometimes it's hard to budget for the maintenance. Mm-hmm. And so, Dallas City Hall is a great example, right? I mean, here we are, facing some really, it's tragic. The whole situation is tragic. But, so Garland, again, we're going to do our ADA, we're going to update our mechanical systems, and we're also going to invest a little bit into some theater technology, which is terrific. So huge. We're going to be offline for all of 2027, which is a little kind of making my palms sweat. Yeah. But what it does make me understand too is this kind of ecosystem of North Texas. So we have these clients that, have been using our facility for 40 years, and now we're trying to, figure out where.
What are they going to do this year?
Yeah, where are they going to do next year? And there's just not a ton of these 600, 700 seat theater spaces. Yeah. So I'm kind of learning about that, but super exciting, really huge for Garland.
What with the mosaic? What's that project?
Oh, yeah. So Garland, okay, so we have Houston-based artist Reginald Adams is in town, and he is creating a 36-foot-long by 3 feet wide mosaic to honor the Flats. So the Flats is Garland's original African-American community. So, Garland has the downtown square, and just slightly northeast of the downtown square, from like the 1910s to about the 1950s, early 60s, was Garland's African-American. It was a freestanding community. There was a school, there was a church, there were businesses, there were residences. So it has all of the ingredients of a freestanding community. As Garland was developing, those families and schools were moved to different parts. And so the past few years, there have been lots of efforts to figure out a way to honor the Flats and to, recognize their contribution to Garland. So Reginald was commissioned. We have some of these members of the Flats that are still living. They're like in their they're in their 80s and 90s. Reginald had a chance to interview them and get some of their stories, and he's created this unbelievable mosaic, which will be dedicated on Juneteenth.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
Super cool.
What else is going on? What else have we missed that's coming up?
Yeah, so the other thing that is pretty exciting, we are about to, our downtown is growing. We have the opportunity to put in a new kind of arts incubator. Again, I think we're leaning very hard into, this identity, this creative, come to Garland. We want artists in Garland.
Dig in a little on the arts incubator. Like, how would that work?
So it's in we've lots of industrial spaces in Garland. It's in an old industrial space. It's 12,000 square feet. There'll be a black box. There'll be some artist studio space. Our administrative offices from the Granville Arts Center are going to be relocated in this arts incubator site. And so, again, taking some of the successes from the Tin District and the Inwood Design District. I don't know if you've had a chance to go look at some of the amazing murals there. Oh, it's unbelievable. So, taking some successes from some of those other areas and hopefully building on that energy in Garland. So
Who would be participating? Like, how would you become a part of that?
Well, so we are about to acquire the building like tomorrow. I think the paperwork gets signed tomorrow.
Wow, okay.
So we're going to really ramp up and we'll have all kinds of information. So garlandarts.com is a great way to kind of keep track of what's going on and
Just
see.
generally, is it going to be residents of Garland only?
No, I mean, I think we understand that our artist community, like when you first talked about this show, I was like, is this okay? I'm not in Dallas. Am I okay to come to Garland?
It's not as cool to call it the DFW famous podcast, but it is, we cover everywhere. So.
Yeah. So, well, as you know, I mean, it kind of, our creative community, the city limits creativity doesn't end at the city limits,
Sure.
right? And so, still working through that. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet.
So we're at the very basically the if you want to be involved, keep an eye on the website, and as time goes on, the information will be there.
You bet.
Got it. That's exciting, though.
It's super exciting. So, and it's right by the blue line. That's the other thing that I love to think about too. Is that DART. I mean, you can get on the DART station right by the Granville Arts Center and go straight down to Dallas Arts District into Deep Ellum. So, hopefully we have an opportunity to build on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan? Like, is there a point where you're like, Garland is good.
Oh my gosh.
I need to move on to another city and make that good.
Oh my gosh. Like I keep I am so fortunate and so lucky to get to do what I do. I mean, I am, and get to work with cool, creative people. I mean, I don't know, but I've also been doing this a long time, and we'll see. Maybe this might be all I can do, Andrew. I might be like,
I don't know. You've got this track record. Like, again, going back to the Parks and Rec analogy,
totally.
I'm like, someone's going to pick you up and come and do this to our city,
Yeah, I think it's so cool I mean, the ingredients to do these kinds of things, I mean, when you've got great architecture and, it's all community based. I mean, and you see that too with Deep Ellum. I mean, when you have people that love a place and usually are involved in some type of creative endeavor of some sort, those are the can-do people. Those people make it happen. And so, you just kind of harness the energy of those folks, and it's pretty remarkable to see what can happen.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not just happening on its own. You're part of the team that's helping move it forward, and the vision. And I mean, I guess you're fortunate because a lot, like McKinney and Garland, have rich histories that you're just trying to figure out a way to honor, essentially, in a modern aspect, right?
Right. But I think every place has a rich history. And, and that's part of the fun, too, is kind of discovering, well, what was going on? Why did people show up here? What were they doing? Why this place? Sometimes I used to think like, oh my goodness, the pioneers, like, why the heck did they stop in Texas?
Yeah.
Like, if you knew the mountains were just, a couple months down the road or whatever, why wouldn't you? But anyway, but every place has an incredible story. And, what's amazing too is some of the undertold stories, like the Flats. I mean, we have all kinds of records about Garland's, the white history of Garland and, what everybody else was doing. But it's some of these untold stories which can be so amazing and so interesting and really connect with people.
Right on. Okay. Is there anything that's coming up that you want to talk about? We haven't.
Sure. Well, I don't know exactly when this will air.
Me neither.
Okay. Well, then we always have something going on in Garland. Thinking way out. So we have Gary Nicholson is coming to Garland in August, and he is a Garland native guy. man, it's so funny. All roads connect. So the other really cool Garland native is Ron Bozeman, and he was one of the guys that produced Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, okay.
He also won an Academy Award for Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, but Gary Nicholson, incredible singer-songwriter, Grammy Award singing singer-songwriter, Garland guy, coming back to the Plaza Theater in August. We'll have a great show in September, live from Laurel Canyon, that will be just, folk music and great video and song, and that's really cool. Then, this is the thing that I'm really trying to get educated on. It's the 60th anniversary of Star Trek this year, and we're going to have a big Star Trek thing in
Really?
September. Yes, so I'm more my knowledge is more Star Wars than Star Trek, but it's going to be super fun. So
yeah, you need to invite me to that. That sounds fun.
it'll be we got a place for you.
All right,
so
cool.
yeah,
Great. Well, Amy, thank you so much for coming and talking about yourself and Garland, and even a little McKinney mixed in. We'll keep an eye out for events and happenings in Garland, and we'll know that your thumbprint is somewhere in the back on that background.
Right, maybe a little blood and maybe a little tears,
Right.
A lot of sweat.
Yeah.
So
All
awesome.
right. Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is really cool, and I love hearing the stories about our Texas artists.
Yes. Excellent. I'd like to thank Amy Rosenthal for being our guest today. You can check out what's going on in Garland and what's going on with her in the show notes. Thank you to the Deep Ellum Community Center for letting us record here. Theme song Unstoppable by Celine Narala, and the outro is The Place to Be by Electric Ants. Thanks again to the Mullen & Mullen Music Project for their support. Like, subscribe, and share the podcast, and we'll see you next week.